do this so I can get this up. What's up, Vicky? How you doing today?
I'm still in the lane. I'm still in the lane. Hold on. Because I also had through the houses and I meant through the signs as well. So I was in every, but I was frozen. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is everybody able to get in? Like, how can you see people are in here?
I don't know. I guess they'll show up when they come.
All right, let me see if because one of my students is trying to make it in, but they don't have the link.
Um.
And I
Well, I
thought you was
think
doing
if
it on
they're not.
Instagram Live.
You said what?
I thought you was doing it on Instagram.
No, I couldn't do the. I don't know. It was just so much stuff. Ugh. I was told that I couldn't do the string yard, and I had to pay them. It was just everything.
Okay. See if I can find this. Can you send the link to my other phone so I have it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to use that. I don't want to have to mess up the picture.
I got you. I got you.
Trying to play with my beautiful afro.
Um, d- d- did I send it to the 817 number or?
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
I sent it to the 443 number.
No, you didn't send it to the 443 number.
Okay, so send it to the 443 number.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Now, what in the world is going on here now? Jeez. Okay. Welcome, Granddaddy Jace. I think that's some. How are you feeling? We are trying to get this live together. This is my first time going live on YouTube. So, still trying to work the kinks out for us.
Peace and
Hi,
blessings, Jace, Kayla. Hopefully, I'm saying your name correctly.
Oh, yeah. Gratitude. How's everyone feeling? Welcome. Oh my goodness. It ain't too dim, is it? My background. Just show the baby picture. So, you see my background? These are puzzles that I did.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that is so nice. I know somebody else has been doing that. They've been putting them like all over there. Well, it's so beautiful though.
I love doing puzzles. Like, that is my
Mm-hmm.
meditational pastime. Another thing I like to do is like coloring. I love the color. These little books.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have these.
Oh, that Venus is somewhere lurking, ain't it?
Yeah. Venus through the houses. I
You know
cannot.
what's funny? I spend my whole day talking about astrology. You know what I was doing before I got here?
Huh.
I was actually in the room talking about astrology for the last 4 hours. I'm like, man, you're gonna tire yourself out. I just can't stop talking about astrology. I need a life. I actually
So
do
much.
need a life.
It's so much more to the world, Prince Ngu. All right. We were trying to give some others some time to step in the room because we were having some technical difficulties. I'm just minding my own business.
Ah.
All right. So we'll give it about 2 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and start this live segment. I hope you all.
And
Um,
go ahead, go ahead.
I also wanted to say I hope you all know your charts. Know your, what is it called again, Nicole?
Vedic,
No, no, no,
sidereal
no.
chart.
The piece of information that they need in order to ask their question.
Oh, I just need them to have
The
their Vedic chart or your chart. Either chart is good because I can use the
degree.
tropical or the sidereal. I need the degrees. So yeah, you need to actually have the chart with you so I can see the degrees. And I need degrees and minutes. If you can do that, that would help us both out.
Okay, so let's get started. Let me first start off by saying gratitude, gratitude, and welcome everyone that is here. We appreciate your presence. And this is going to be a beautiful show. You will be able to ask questions about your Venus sometime in the live. I also wanted to say that I am a master student. I have a master class coming up in February the 22nd. It's called All Communication. So I will be teaching that we can communicate on all levels. You know how I say it's levels to this. It's truly levels to this.
Watch your
So
mouth.
yeah. Oh, gratitude, Khalid. Gratitude. Also, I study numerology, so I do readings for numerology, and I am also a spiritual life coach. You can find me on all platforms that I am on at Master Student 112233. All right. Without further ado, Prince Nagu.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So let's get right into it. First of all, I just want to bring the energy of peace, love, and blessings. I just want to let everybody know that I start everything with the embodiment of love. I love everyone that I meet, and hopefully, that whatever information I give today is given out of love, and people receive that energy and love. Okay. With that being said, speaking of love, before we get into it, has anyone seen the sky outside tonight? The brightest thing out there is Venus tonight. Oh my gosh, it is so bright. Like it get you soon as you look in the sky, it's like ping. It is so bright in the sky. So I'm just saying that it must be a divine night to talk about Venus because I didn't even know Venus would be this visible today when we actually made this over a month ago. So funny how life works out. With that
Absolutely.
being said, Venus, we know as Sukracharya in the Vedic understanding. And the word Sukra means semen. And Sukra is the word that we get for Venus. Okay, before we go into Sukracharya, Sukra means semen. So, what Venus shows us is the bonding of elements, anything that it can bond together. And so, when we think about Taurus, we think about a family, which is bonded together. When we think about Libra, we think about merging partnerships, bonding together. So that's why Venus is so important into our lives. Now, to get into the aspect of what Venus does in the body, Venus shows us all the fluids that comes out of the blood. But that's very important because those fluids also have so I would say it like a super fluid. And what would that fluid be? Semen. But let's get to why semen is important. And this is going to show you around in our cells because that semen is a production of pleasure and creativity, which leads us into what Venus does in the signs itself, which shows us our pleasure and creativity. So Venus and Aries. Aries is about identity. It's also about passion. It's a Martian quality. In most spaces, Venus and Aries loves to be risky. It is very, very passionate. Loves new beginnings. Venus and Aries are the type of people that will like animals that may be fast, people that could be like veterinarians, all sorts of things because Venus loves that Martian quality. The other thing that we want to understand about Venus and Aries is that Aries is always where we find our identity. Now, does that mean that everybody in Venus and Aries has to find that identity through love? But the creativity itself plays a role. And Aries is what's called a Rajasic sign. Rajasic is about self centered energy, creativity, passion. And so that shows you that a lot of times, because of that passion of Aries, Venus can start things fast. But we know that Aries, as a cardinal sign, does not have a strong pull to do anything for a very long time. So, what happens with a lot of people in relationships is that Venus will start things with people, but the passion will die out quickly. And they'll see a lot of what's called new beginnings. And this is why you'll find your identity in this sector. Venus and Taurus. Taurus is about the energy of procreations and profoundations. And what we notice about Taurus is that it teaches us about all the sensual things about our lives, all the sensual things about our lives. But there's another thing that comes into Taurus, because in the second house, in the East, we use this word called Gotra, which deals with the family crest, which deals with pride. And so people that have Venus and Taurus will have a lot of pride in themselves. If you've ever been around a Venus and Taurus person, they'll say, I deserve. Deserve what? You're going to learn today. Because that's what Taurus is about, that sense of pride. But also, when we think about the sensual nature of Venus, Venus is also very artistic in Taurus. Venus can be also put together a lot of the body that shows you something that can have that energy of procreation. And so Venus and Taurus people will likely be people that have lots of children or have, that taste in the good life along with things like children. The other thing that I want to say about Venus and Taurus people is that because of the sensual natures, they love things that are like perfume. Uh, people that dress nice, people that have nice things like nice cars and things. But these are the sensual things of life. And this is what Taurus is about. So when you come to a Taurus, it's a sun in Taurus, moon in Taurus, Venus in Taurus, Taurus, like you need to understand that they need the material life worked out or we're going to have a problem. Venus and Gemini. Venus and Gemini shows us part of what we call the polarity, which is the dual or the duality of Gemini itself. Gemini shows us the part of ourselves that needs lots of stimulation because Gemini deals with Mercury. And any planet that sits in the sign of Gemini has to go through that corridor of stimulation. So, a lot of times, what happens with Venus and Gemini people is that they need a lot of communication, intellectual stimulation, or there's going to really be a problem. But also, Gemini in the East is a word that they call mithana. And the word mithana, Mithuna, comes from the word mithun. And the word mithun is the word for sex. These are very sexual people. You want to know what type of people would be your polygamist? Gemini and Mercury's involved. No question. Now, does that mean a Venus and Gemini person is a polygamist? No. Usually that will need to be aspects to Gemini to see things like that. More than likely, it's some bad aspects. But a lot of times, what we do find with Venus and Gemini people is that this is the first line of seeing people that can have either multiple marriages, multiple partners, or many partners. Because that stimulation just there, but it can leave very quickly. And you can even see people dealing with two people at once. The other thing about Gemini is that Gemini is very creative, which tells us that Venus and Gemini people do have the function of creativity as well. Venus and Mercury has come together. Venus and Gemini is a planet of discrimination, which deals with Mercury. Sorry, Venus in Gemini deals with discrimination because of Mercury. So the way that we want to see that is anytime Venus and Mercury comes together, there's a lot of discriminatory values, which is why I always say Venus and Mercury doesn't really help each other as it pertains to love. And this is why Venus is debilitated in Virgo, because to actually have love, we actually have to have faith. But discriminating love means that I have a problem, which means I'm searching for a problem, which means I'm trying to fix something. But to fix something means that there's a problem. So that's Venus and Gemini. Venus in Cancer. Venus in Cancer shows us the flow of Cancer. Cancer is a motherly sign. Cancer is a nurturing sign. But Cancer can be also a very coiled sign, which means that you can be very connected to things emotionally. A lot of times this can be very good because a Cancer person will cook, clean, whether it's a woman or a man, they'll do all these great things. But the familiarity of Cancer can become a con to people. And that one good thing of having that Venus in Cancer will bring the bad thing, which will be once I get familiarized with something, I don't want to let it go. And this is something that Cancers do, no matter how that Cancer is, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus here, is that when you have that Cancer energy, people get wrapped up in your energy. You ever just take a ride with somebody? Hey, I just want to go down the street real quick. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours later. You still in the car with them. This is Cancer energy. And this is why Cancer, they're so bonded to people, they don't know how to let things go. And
Mhm.
so it can be really good, then it can go really bad. So that all depends on aspects. Venus and Cancer, Venus and the Moon are not particularly friends, even though people will look at Venus and Moon like, why shouldn't they be friends? But technically, they want different things. Moon is more of a metaphysical aspect of ourselves, technically, and Venus is more of a physical aspect of ourselves. So that's Venus and Cancer. I'm trying to be brief because I know of the time limits. I could talk all day on one of these signs. Venus and Leo, my Venus. I have Venus and Leo on both sidereal and tropical. This is the sign of individualization. And Leo will show us a lot of the gifts that we have about ourselves. Problem with Leo, though, well, first of all, let me say a few pros before we get into problems. This can be really good for appreciating, giving gifts to people. Like people wanted to live the flashy life with a person. Like, come on, let's go out and do it real big. Let's put our best dress on. Because Leo is something that wants to have a bright image. And so this is why a lot of times you can see people when there's Leo involved, they'll find people that could be trophies, really
Mhm.
deep, because of that admiration, like how we admire the sun, really deep. So Venus and Leo shows us that capacity of ourselves. And this could be really good. This is a very sattvic sign. So they're really looking for good. And the other thing about Leo is that Venus and Leo people are very sexual. Most of Leo is so sexual. It is so deep. Cancer, Leo, and Virgo places can also be produced into infidelity, especially if transits or bad aspects come to this. So there could be a lot of infidelity with these signs. And then I'm gonna get to the more the cons of Venus and Leo. A con of Venus and Leo is that Venus and the Sun are direct enemies. Direct enemies. And everything that the Sun is actually for, Venus is against. Sun is an embodiment of who I am on the inside. Venus is how I connect to things on the outside. So, in that sense, the Venus wants a material growth, but the Sun is on a spiritual journey on the inside. For me to connect with things on the outside, I have to lose things on the inside. So it's kind of like bringing Kobe Bryant to the team and saying, pass the ball. But we know he finna shoot. So this is the thing about Sun and Venus is that Venus and Leo or Venus and the Sun will show you people that have problems sharing parts of their life with other people. They're too much into themselves. My house, your car, or my house, your house, my car, your room, my room. Like this is this sort of brand of problem that Venus and Leo has, and because of that, this can actually bring lots of problems with people. And sometimes with bad aspects, Leo can also find you people that could be controlling as well. People that could also be very too confident. So that could be ego clashes with people. And you can see some of that. My house, your house. It becomes like who does what. Man's like, look, I want you to drive in my car. Woman's like, no, I do what I want to do. Okay. Imagine how that works out. At any rate. So Venus and Virgo. Venus and Virgo, even though we give a bad rap to Mercury and Venus, Virgo is really a good sign. It can sometimes be critiquish and get on people's nerves. But Venus in Virgo can actually be quite helpful to people. Okay. No sign is directly bad. Virgo can show us people that want to give so much to other people, though. And this can be the greatest and the worst thing about themselves. Because when a Virgo person give, it's that reciprocation and that discrimination of that reciprocation that is so important. So in that reciprocation, that takes us away from the Venus exalted in Pisces. And Venus exalts in Pisces, which means that we need to have a sense of bliss and faith. And so when you're in Venus and Virgo, these are the type of people that want to make sure that you're critiqued, you're on tap with things, you have a right routine. Virgo will show you that. Virgo will show you all the things that you're doing wrong. And so, if a person was a Mars and Virgo meeting a Venus and Virgo, they'll have a great time together, because then the person's critique won't be a problem with the person understanding their critique. But where Venus goes wrong is that Venus has that energy of discrimination and that value of discontentment at times. And because of that, they're looking to produce a fix to things. And to fix something means that there's already a problem, you know? So that can be a problem with Venus and Virgo at times. Venus and Libra, really deep. Love the lavish lifestyle. Libra and lavish lifestyles are so important. Um, this is a place where person becomes highly diplomatic. The type of people that could court people at dinner all the time, and they just know how to be around people. They're just like that sort of person to be around. And it's so beautiful to even be around a Venus and Libra type of person. The only thing about Venus and Libra is that they can really get consumed by that life too. And so we need to be able to know how to step back from that material life and actually get back to that inner life. This is why it's opposite Aries. Aries is about me. Libra is about connecting with other things outside of me. So the question is, how much am I giving to me versus how much I'm giving to outside of me? And this is why Venus in even in the seventh house, the same way we say Venus in Libra, is basically saying I'm going to devote myself to whatever this is that I'm doing outside of me. And that devotion can bring me great value. Lavish lifestyle, good people, all of that. The thing about Libra people is that they do not like to be around people that cannot live up to that lavish lifestyle or live around it. And that doesn't mean you have to be rich or anything like that. But you know how people have plush rug, clean houses. Like, they don't want to come around your filth and your messed up energy. Libra is about balance. So that means you need to have that balance in life or it's going to be a problem with them. Venus and Scorpio. This is where the zodiac starts to get deep. Um, Venus and Scorpio can be really, really good at bonding with people on the most inner depth level, on a soul level, on a cosmic level, in a level where you can't even put this on paper. Because that's what Scorpio is about, truth and honesty. And the problem with people is that everybody ain't ready for that truth and honesty. But Venus itself, in its good place, will give you the deepest bonds that you will ever meet with people. And that can be good. Problem is that all water signs really deal with privacy, and Scorpio is the master at this secretive thing. So you find yourself dealing with people that may be married at times, people that are already in relationships, things done in the dark. You know how that goes. Like, you find people that could also be the type, meeting people that could be backbiting people. And this is with bad associations to Venus and Scorpio. Again, good associations to Venus and Scorpio will bring you a better quality of relationships, but more so the ones that have to be on a soul connected level or it will not work. Scorpio is about touching something so deep inside you that no one can see. No one can see it. And this is what we see is like going to higher octaves between Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So that's the psychological level of being, and this is why Scorpio deals with control, because To be able to understand you, I need to know the inner depth of who you are. And this is why Scorpio always needs to ask that extra. They need to know. They're like analyzing and psychoanalyzing who you are. And without that connection, there is no connection. So let's move on to Sagittarius. Venus and Sagittarius can be very fruitful. Anytime Venus conjuncts with Sagittarius, we find the values that these people are like great travelers, adventurous, could actually come in, with wisdom, because Venus shows us what we pleasure in our universe. So in a good place, you'll see sometimes that Venus and Sag people will explore outside of their own culture. That could happen with Venus and Sag, sometimes with Mars and Sag, or I don't know, just being a Sag. But but anyway, that Venus and Sag energy will do that. Venus and Sag energy can sometimes can actually make you see things that are not there. That's the one drawback to Pisces. I mean to Jupiter is that because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, you'll find people that get into relationships with people and they just see the optimism of what's there. And that can blind Venus at times. It can blind Venus to feeling like I need to go over here and get something, or this person right here is giving me something and I need nothing else. Because Sagittarius and Jupiter is about ethics, morals, and laws. And the thing about it is that once we've kind of placed that in a, with a planet like Venus there, well, Venus is not really a friend to Jupiter. So they're enemies for a reason. And it does not mean one planet is bad or good in a sense, but it's what they're actually working towards. Jupiter is not really looking to bond like Venus. So it can have problems with Venus and Sag. That's why it's this called an quote unquote enemy sign. And if you notice, even though Venus will get along with Pisces, Venus is not friends with Jupiter. That's just something in Pisces that helps Venus. Same way with Mars and Capricorn versus Mars and Aquarius. Mars is an enemy of Saturn, but it can use Capricorn. So Venus and Sag actually becomes a little bit more of an enemy place for Venus, and there are good things that can happen. But we have to understand that people moving out of their race from an ancient point of view was always looked at as something bad. I'll leave that there because we know what day we live in today. So we'll leave that there. Venus and Capricorn. Capricorn's energy. Oh man, you gotta love Capricorn. Gotta love Capricorn. Capricorn is about tradition. Capricorn is about being organized, being disciplined. And Capricorn is about consistency. And you put a planet like Venus there, the type of people you'll like are going to be the people that are more organized, consistent, and things like that. So I want to marry someone who's a workaholic or someone who's always got things put together, someone who can be consistent and punctual and things like that. Because a Venus and Capricorn person is already an organizer. Like they might be an event organizer or a wedding organizer or a party organizer. Like that's their energy. So I wouldn't want to meet someone that cannot complement that energy. So that's why when you meet Saturn people, they're looking, if Venus and Saturn was together, they're looking for someone who's older. But is it really about them being older? No, it's about them actually having a complete composition worked out that you can step right into, rather than someone who's across from that Capricorn, Cancer, which is usually a fluctuating flow. It's good today. We don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow. So the drawback to Venus and Capricorn is that Capricornian energy can get a little stiff. And it can get so stuck in its ways at times that we might not be able to do that sort of fluctuating value. So this is the opposite of what Cancer is giving, which is that, I'm not so put together value, but I really want to be around you. Where Capricorn is more of a cold sign. So cold sign goes with Saturn, Aquarius, and Capricorn. So you see that people can have that cold energy, but it's because like Saturn is more of a business style planet. It's not there to be quote unquote lovey dovey. So that's why it's more of a traditional sign. It's like two people that are coming together and doing something in a traditional way. Okay, you got this, I got that. It's more of a business style energy. Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is really deep. You gotta love Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of weirdness. It's where all the quote unquote rebels live. All us Aquarian people living in this old Aquarian age. Now, what's deep about Aquarius is that what I like is something that's more eccentric, out of this world, something that would have a different cast. Um, somebody who may be into things like science, nature, astrology, you know, looking at doing hikes in the mountains. Like these are all Aquarian features. But one thing I do notice about Aquarian that's really deep is that people love things like tattoos. People love all the things that people don't generally do in a society is the type of things that Venus would love. So anything you say is off, Venus in Aquarius is like, I like that guy. He's got 8 holes in his ear. I like that guy. Nope, nobody does it, but I like that guy. Ooh, it's something about him. This is what Venus in Aquarius sees. The only drawback to the sign of Aquarius is that Aquarius can show us separation. Sometimes we can have like separation anxiety. Sometimes we can have like a separated feature in love itself. But it doesn't stop you from having love. It just means that again, that sort of business style energy of Saturn. It's really deep when you think about it that way. But Venus in Aquarius is very centric and they love things that are different. And so if you can be different for Venus, it works. Definitely works. Whether you're into science, computers, any of these type of things, it's all up Aquarius's alley. Venus in Pisces. This is the place of, let's just say, hopeless romance. Because a Venus in Pisces person will drop their bank account. Okay, like you got 10, I need the whole two. Okay, I'll give it to you. This is that Pisces energy. But that Jupiter's energy, like I said earlier, is more philanthropic. And so Pisces in itself kind of shows us the place where, we're reluctant to just give up things. And this is why that Venus in Virgo versus that Venus in Pisces is the same as the ascendant Virgo in Pisces. And if you think about it, that's exactly how we're looking at this. And both will have the same issue. Pisces people will be too naive, and Virgo people will be too critical. Just think about it, right? And the naivete can actually bring you to some great energy. Um, Sex will be at its highest level in Pisces. It'll be like reaching the levels of God. You talking about orgasms and okay, you get the point. Like this is going to show you something. And for women, this also equates to you know the yoni area as well. And Mars would be the phallus for a man, that area. So you can see, like this is showing the two parts that come together, and this is why Venus needs to meet Mars in two people's chart. Very important. But this Pisces energy shows us things like spirituality, spiritual growth, bliss, faith, and this is something that's central to Pisces. Faith is the word, and a lot of times, just like Sagittarius, you can have that blind faith into things, blind faith into people. Yes, I'll give you the money. It's like you don't know. And that can be the greatest thing for you at times. But it can also be the reason why you go in debt. So, um, this is my energy of the 12 signs. Hopefully what I said makes sense. And hopefully everyone got something out of that. I tried to be quick enough because Lord have mercy, I could talk. I could talk.
Gratitude for that. Gratitude. Did anyone get anything from that? Did they like that? Do you have any questions about Venus and the 12th house? I know I do have a couple of questions. So, my first question is for that's a lot of information. Oh, and peace, peace, peace. How's everyone? Gratitude for those who came in after we started. I hope you didn't miss much of anything. However, we are going through Venus and through the houses because everybody's favorite holiday is coming up, February the 14th. And we decided on talking about this. So, you know, it's important to know thyself and know others as well, right? And there's nothing wrong with asking the person for their chart information. You know, when they say no, well, what you hiding? That's what I ask. What you got to hide? I ain't no great astrologer, but I just want to be able to dive into it and see if we mesh. Just I'm more with the numbers. However, I want to see the chart too, because they both provide great insight. So my first question is, Nagu,
Mhm.
um, so having certain planets with Venus, do they give the results as like the house lord? So say Venus sitting with Moon, even though Venus is not sitting in Cancer, will you get like the same results of having Venus in Cancer?
Good question. So first of all, and I thought about this before I started, but I should have went into this first. If we're looking for things like love, all right, it has to be placed on what is it that we're looking for. That's why the astrology chart has 12 houses and gives us different partitions of our life. If we are looking at love, first of all, and the way I teach my students is from what's called the farmer system. Okay. The soil is the house. And we can see planets there. We can see how dry the soil is, how ripe the soil is. And that shows us our emotional connection to something in every house. The Lord is showing us the farmer, and he is the desire of the house. This will be when I go to look at a person's chart, if I want to describe the spouse, that's what planet I be looking at, not in the seventh house. Now, seventh house can give you some features, but that's not what I want to look at to find out about them. I want to go to the desire and see where the desire is going, and that desire is going to show me who places themselves in that partition.
Mm.
Venus is what we use for the word significant, and the word we use in the East is called karaka, Karaka, karaka. And that word significator is showing us the fruit. Now think about it. We have a soil, we have a farmer, and we have the fruit.
Mhm.
And the
Harvesting.
reason why, right? And you see, the thing is that the fruit itself shows us when we eat the fruit, how sweet it is. Did I get anything out of it?
Mm.
So that's what Venus is showing you. When you bring a planet to Venus, Venus ultimately bring that planet back to the house and the sign. I know it gets a little deep because you're like, well, that's planets in the house and that's not, but you have to add it all up differently. For example, let's say if I had a Gemini ascendant and I had Mars and Sagittarius in the seventh house. Well, we know Mars is showing us the type of soil that we have. Mars, things run quick. It starts dynamic, also can end dynamic. But the point is that there's a lot of passion. So that's the type of relationship I want. Sagittarius tells me that I want to deal with someone who's on a higher level of thinking, someone who's expanded, someone who might be a professor, someone who might, because that's the type of relation I want. Let's just say Jupiter is in Aries, right? That would be what? Mm, 11th house. So now we say Jupiter's in Aries. And Jupiter's in Aries is going to tell me so much about this individual now. Because whether it's man or woman, we know that Jupiter means that a person is coming from more than likely a home of higher education, spirituality, things like that. Aries is going to tell us, that depends on where it is in Aries too. That's going to tell us the type of values that that person comes from, right?
Mm.
And who they are. Like these could be like, having that Aries type energy. Now that doesn't mean that they are a Aries. Don't take this into the fact of thinking that, oh, because I have a sign Sagittarius or my Jupiter goes into Cancer. Like does not explain who these people are from the point of they're a Cancer or they're an Aries. No, that's not how astrology is going to work. What it's going to do is describe them. So it's going to describe the fact that this person is going to be highly intelligent until they get angry. Period. That's how you're going to see it.
Mm.
That's it.
Wow.
So, so from Venus. Let's say if Venus in this chart goes in the fifth house in Libra. And I won't even start on the conjunction of it being across from Jupiter. Let's just say Venus goes into Libra. That means the fruit is good. Because if there were malefic planets around this and the fruit was bad, even though I can find the right person, one, a good relation, but I don't have the capacity to fully bond with you.
Mm.
So when Venus goes with the moon, it is showing you what the fruit is showing you. And the fruit of the moon is more of a thing about emotions and fluctuations and consuming things. And so a lot of times Venus and the moon is showing us values of things like luxuries. You see, when Venus and the moon come together, they create a yoga of luxury. And so people around you need to make sure that they can give you that, or what happens? Aha,
I'm going.
no fruit. It's
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah. Okay, I have another question. So, is and do you want to let individuals know where they can go in and look at their charts if they want to look at their Vedic chart?
Sure, sure, sure. If anybody can help me out, the word is Cosmic Insights. INSIGHTS. It's an app that you can use on your iPhone or your Android phone. And this will give you your Eastern chart very easily. They give you one free chart on there. And you can map out your full understanding through the Vedic stars. Also, there's another place that can help you a little bit too. I don't use this a lot, but I know a lot of tropical people use that to look up their sidereal chart. And that's a website called AstroSeek. ASTROSEEK.com. AstroSeek. And on that, when you go in to look up your chart, just make sure that you put the calculation to sidereal. But the thing about Cosmic Insights is that it's only sidereal, so you can't go wrong there. Um, but that's what I use to look up charts.
Okay. Um, my next question is Venus, look, it would take me to ask this, right? However, is Venus in any chart in the 12th house the heightened sexual peak as well or just Pisces? Did you understand that? Did I say that correctly?
Try that one more
Yes.
time.
So you know how you talked about that sexual peak in the 12th house in Pisces?
Hmm.
So is that true for any 12th house or is it just Pisces?
Yeah, this is more about Pisces than the 12th
Okay.
house. 12th house
Okay.
can actually see the thing about the 12th house is this is the house of loss and expenditure.
Mm.
Now, while Venus is not the worst planet to put in the 12th house, I wouldn't be looking for Venus to be in my 12th house to give such great fruits because the 12th house could mean that someone's afar. I could be dealing with foreigners. That's what Venus is bringing in this house, is bringing a feature of the 12th house.
Okay.
So, but Venus in the 12th house could deal with so many things like multinational companies and nonprofit businesses. So it's like, what are we actually trying to get out? No matter what house Venus goes in, that could be a pro and a con to that. So we don't have to look at the house to say, oh, is it a con or is it a pro here? The problem is going to be what is surrounding this Venus. Is Venus well placed in the chart? Is Venus ruling good houses in the chart? That's the first thing that I look at. Planet could be in the first house, Venus. If that Venus rules the sixth house, it's still going to bring a problem.
Mm.
So house lords are very important in astrology. And if your Venus is Lord of the ninth going into 12th, then that means that I can be online going to school and meet my wife.
Mm. Look, y'all, he is amazing with the astrology. I just be like, sometimes I know I was dating this guy some years ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I give it 6 months, and then you're gonna be done with it." I met the guy in November, like the third week of November, and when he told me this, it was already the third month, and by my birthday, May, it was done. I mean, it
I
was.
still remember him. What we used to call him? Eight chains.
I was like, and
Oh my
I swear,
god.
y'all, that made me a firm believer in the esoterics and astrology because I'm just like, whoa, it blew my mind that he predicted exactly 6 months and it was already 3 months. He was like, "Yep, the whole time it'll be only be 6 months," and
See, but let me tell you what I saw in that chart then, because I barely remember this. It's like 6, 7 years ago. But I remember most of his charts. He had like Venus and Sag. I think you're a Moon in Gemini, which means he was Moon in Sag. And I also remember your Sun is in Taurus, so that means he was a Sun in Scorpio. Like I remember a lot of this chart, even though it was so many years ago. The problem was is that you guys Mars and Venus didn't match. And remember when I told you, I said you guys got sexual issues, and you said, "What do you mean? We have good sex." I said, "I know what you mean, but no." And the reason why is because when your Venus, the two most important things to look at when it pertains to love and synastry is that the Moon and Venus are the two water planets. They take precedence over everything. I don't care if your sun sign match or not. I ain't gonna lie. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. It can play a role. It ain't the most important thing. I promise you. If that moon is off, I give it 6 months to a year. You'll get in a fight with this person. You might, move back in at some point. Y'all do this at year after year until you get ready to get off the hamster's wheel. If Venus and Mars is in a problem, that is a huge problem in a chart. A man's Mars needs to meet a woman's Venus, whether it's across from each other, same sign, fine. Anything else? Eh, okay. And if those things don't match, and especially if a Venus, a woman's Venus, or a woman's Mars is attached to a man's Venus, you're going to have a problem of a masculinity issue. And the first thing that you're going to say is that something about him is not man enough. And it
yes.
will end that relationship off the break every time.
You are never lying, Amy. Oh my gosh, cosmic light. I cannot, but I don't even know his chart. That was the crazy thing. We didn't even have a birthday, a time of birth either. That was crazy. That you look, he does these charts like sleeping. Like he does this, he can in his sleep. It's crazy. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, and he goes so deep because he deals with the nakshatras. A lot of people don't understand the nakshatras. Astrology, what he's taught me is like an onion, and it's just all these charts to unfold and unfold, and it's never a stop to the unfolding, right? I mean, he can go and look at a chart and see your grandmother's past lives, and I'm just looking like, whoa, like all he does is read, read, read. Like kudos, kudos. We need more like you in the world. Gratitude, person to go.
And the other thing that I want to spread into this is that if we're looking at a chart and we're looking for things like relationships, right? Venus is one component, and we talked about the seventh house, seven, but you need to look at that Jupiter. Jupiter tells us a lot, a lot, a lot. If your Jupiter has a problem, okay, now think about this. I say Jupiter's with the South Node, or which we call Ketu in the East, right? I say that Jupiter's with that. But the likelihood to fulfill that prophecy, you would have to have a child out of wedlock. Now, is that happening before or after the marriage? But you ain't got no children. Think about it. How's that going to work out? See what I'm saying? Like, that Jupiter is your culturing, the way that you culture yourself. So, if like your Jupiter's with Saturn, the likelihood is that you're going to be taking care of a child by yourself at some point.
Mm, mm.
Period. Period.
You said
Whether it's,
Jupiter is with Saturn?
oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And here's the thing about it, right? What is this showing you? Saturn is about perseverance and responsibility and, putting up with things in a sort of discipline and hard work and all of these things. But they teach us about the avatar of Vishnu called Karma. And he was a tortoise that supposedly held up the cosmic the earth to be formed. And so what's funny about it is like when you're dealing with Saturn, it's like holding 1,000 pound bag of rocks. Now think about that as I have a child. And now I gotta pull on 1,000 pound bag of rocks. That means I'm pulling it by my damn self.
Mm.
Because it wouldn't be that heavy. So that's showing you a restricted value. That's showing you a responsibility. But why would it needs to feel like there's 1,000 pound bag of rocks just because I had a child with another person? That means they're not involved that
Mm.
much. Now sometimes you'll have situations where men will have this and they could be paying child support, or they'll get the kids every you know in the summertime. Yeah, it's like, but it's showing you that this is going to be your complexity. This is
Mhm.
going to be the problem that you're going to have to deal with, and that's why Jupiter and Saturn in anybody's chart is a huge indication that that may happen in your lifetime. A lot of people see this and be like, oh well, so that means I should just leave the person I'm married with. Listen, by no means do I tell people what to do in their life, ever. I didn't even tell you to leave that guy. I should have. But no, but seriously, that's not my job to do as an astrologer. My job is to find a way for you to understand the information that can help you to have a life and a life more abundantly. What you choose is what you choose to do. And my job is to present you with the information and allow you to make choices upon that information. It is not my job to live through you and tell you what to do. If you like to get beat on, what do you want me to tell you? If you want to leave the dude because he didn't like the way last week changed, what am I to tell you? My job is to find a way to help you find abundance. So if you're asking me a question, I'll answer it. But I don't need to volunteer information telling people what to do in their life.
Amy says she need her chart done. I've done mine, but I do not understand. So, absolutely, I don't. Can y'all see Nagul's name? But we're going to get to how y'all can contact him as well. Um, let's. I got another question. Do y'all have any questions? Are y'all safe for right now? Okay, so in the Bible,
Mhm.
I had to bring this up. So
Okay,
in the,
I'm ready for it now.
I already know. Look,
You can call the right person now.
in the Bible, when it speaks about knowing the fruits, right? The
Mhm.
fruit that you bear, are they relating this to astrology? Because I do understand that the Bible speaks on esoterics. So you know how when they say that when you're dealing with a guy, know that fruit, because if not, then you may be having a little demon seed, you know.
Yeah, I don't look at things of being good and evil in that factor in astrology. There is no good and there's no evil. There are no good people or bad people. There are just God's word. This is what I'm going to tell you.
Wait a minute. I don't think you understood my question.
No, I understood. I understood, but I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say that before I got into it, so that way they can understand my point of view on astrology.
Okay. Okay.
Now, with that point, astrology in itself is the religion. There is no religion without the astrology. There is no part to have this religion. Don't forget, the first thing we find in Genesis has to do with time. First
Mm.
Chronicles 27. What were they building? Hmm. Sounds like the same thing they were building in Revelation chapter 21. But if you go into Revelations chapter 4, I know it might get too deep. I know this might be a lot for y'all to follow, so I'm going to say it one more time. If you start with Genesis in chapter 1, they're teaching you about time. And they tell you the time is for seasons. And why would they tell you that? Is it something I need to equate? Is it something I need to do? Why would it tell me that? Everything about the Bible is about astrology. And I mean, when you think about the word astrology and go back to the Bible and start reading again, you'd be, oh my God. It's like somebody. I was talking to a person the other day about Job 38 chapter. You go into Job 38 chapter, especially in the later verses, it says, can you plot Orion, Pleiades? What are you talking about? Why would Job be talking about stars? Mazzaroth, Arcturus, these are stars. So that's what I was about to get into in Revelation chapter 4, where they start to get into the stars itself. They say in that so deep, they said it looks like uh, a glass, like a sea of glass. that is akin to diamond. What are they talking about? But they're talking about heaven right now. They're telling you about the stars. So therefore, when you yoke yourself with people, you're not just yoking yourself. You don't marry people by yourself.
Mhm.
You're bringing along your divine ancestors, your physical family that brought you into this earth, fed, clothed, and cleaned you while you didn't know how to, who taught you everything that you know up until the certain points, and who actually protect you and are about everything that you do. So therefore, you're not just yoking yourself. So therefore, when it comes talks about being unequally yoked, it means that you have a destiny. You are born into a certain energy, abilities, and you're matching with people. That means that they need to match those destinies, abilities, and the divine energy that you have brought into this world. And everybody's a little different. It doesn't mean that this person is bad or you're good. But if I'm here to be a Brahmin and you here to be an outcast, like what we finna do together? Like what
Mhm.
we finna do together if I'm finna be a priest and you finna go steal tomorrow? What are we finna do together?
Yeah.
It's common sense. At some point, we have to know that the ancestors are waking up. What you got? Get them out. Get them out. Next thing you know, the fire come in the house, and then you find out he left his phone on, and then he was texting the girl.
Yeah.
Get him out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that was on the question. Oh, my last question. What is Venus's exaltation point?
Pisces.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, it'll be somewhere around Pisces, around 27 degrees.
Mm, okay. Well, does anyone have any questions for Nagu? Um, he is looking at the degrees in the chart. He'll tell you exactly what's going, well, not exactly, but he'll give you a brief description of what it is that your Venus is looking like in your chart if you choose to give him the degree. If you do not know the degree, you can also ask him for ask him how to find that information. While we're waiting to see if any questions, Nagu, can you let us know some of the services that you offer?
Yes, ma'am. I teach astrology on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I have a class that's going right now. I'm actually teaching two classes. Um, and so I teach 3 semesters of astrology. You can find it on my website at theastrologer.ngu.com. There's a whole syllabus there. And you can schedule readings from there, or you can just hit me up from my Instagram if you need to talk, if you need to make a deal, or whatever it is that you want to talk about. I'm a free person. I talk astrology all day, every day. So if you have a question and an open mind, I will be ready to give anything. I do not give hours of my time for free though. So let's just make sure we understand that. Like if you got a couple questions, I got that, but make sure that you understand that I have to make do with my household as well. So, all I tell people is that donate for people that can't, especially if I'm doing a donation based situation. When it comes to my readings, I do charge by the hour. But like I said, you can hit me up and we'll work it out. Like for me, I don't look at people as like, oh, you got to do this or you got to do that. I find a way to meet you where you're at. Okay. Now, with that being said, I do a lot of readings, career readings, love readings. And when love reading would be more about what's in your chart. Synastry reading is me, like if I want to know about me and Vicky right now. I'm sorry, Empress right now. So um if if I wanted to know that, then what I'll do at that point is I would be able to construct two charts and bring those two together. Um Relocation, money, all these sorts of things. Basically anything that you're looking for in a chart, I have a reading for more than likely. If I don't, or you asking me something that's above my head, then I would contact my mentor teacher, Sai. Sai Karthik, who was taught by one of the greatest astrologers in India. So yes, I have a hierarchy and leadership as well, because we don't know everything. Astrologers is just natural people, just like everyone else in this room, you know. So I appreciate the energy. And again, you can reach me at the astrologer, Ngu.com, on my Instagram, Ngu the Astrologer. And that's a couple of ways that you can reach me.
Okay, Donna Marie. Venus in
Mm,
Leo, 28 degrees in 11th house.
that's sidereal. So this is Uttara Palguni. And so we've passed the phases of all the sexual energies in Leo to find the one energy that's also ruled by the sun, which is really deep. Sun ruled constellations in Vedic astrology show us something that needs to be birthed over time, something that needs a lot of planning, and something that comes later in life. And so, be it though, and this is why when we look at this, we have to look at planets that are surrounding this as well, because they're going to give us also a little bit of the soup. But at these degrees in astrology, you would also be in Sagittarius. So you see a lot of more independent style energy here. The sun's energy is about qualifying things, bringing energy of light and love and abundance. This is a constellation that deals with devotion. And so you can see someone who's very devoted to the people that they're around, very loving and warm nature. But the only problem is that we're in a sun ruled nakshatra and a Leo sign. It goes back to what I was telling you earlier. Lots of pizzazz, loves the good life. That does not mean that they're living like lavishly and overspending or anything like that. But the problem with Venus and Leo people too is that they do actually overspend. And that is the thing, you know. If I went out with a person that's a Venus and Leo and, you know, they tell me, hey, why are you spending too much money? And let's not, it's time for me to get up out of there. Because the likelihood is that we ain't gonna last too long. Just being honest. Like if I gotta pipe down the way I want to eat today to eat the way you want to eat today because you got a problem, the likelihood is we ain't gonna last long. And this is another factor about putting all of that heat around Venus. The other thing that the last thing I want to say is about the Venus and Sun in Leo, and it's a very masculine energy. And what it tells us is that, remember what I went back to earlier about Venus and Leo and Venus and the Sun. My house, your car, my car. And so it shows you that you can meet a lot of people that have a dynamic energy. They can be people that can be well to do, or they can have very confident energy. But that confidence can also breed things like ego clashes between people. Who's going to be the head, or which way are we going to go? Or, you know, I wanted my life to go this way. And these are the type of things that we find. Now, we bring it to the other chart with that Sagittarius. That Venus and Sag can venture out. It can deal with many types of people. It can be very naive. And this could be a very naive place with these degrees in Leo, being it between 26 degrees, 40 minutes in the end of Leo. So that's showing you one thing. The other thing is that we would also be in a place called Purva Bhajapada. I'm sorry, Purva Shada. So what I can deduce from this is that love will never work out until you have all your ducks in order here. And the fact of the matter is that I want to have my full life, all these me, mine things in order before I can deal with other people. Or it plays a role into like just having problems. But then that other part is that Venus going on top of Venus, which can deal with infatuation energies. It can deal with energies of, being very feminine at times to the point where, you lose yourself. So it's kind of like I can lose myself into being infatuated and loving things and even eating a lot of things, or that's more of a Venusian energy or on the top of Venusian energy. But on the outside, I have to play this role of Like, I want this extravagant things, and I want to be respected. I want to be appreciated. I want gifts. I want to give gifts. I need that sort of reciprocated value. So it's a good thing to have that Venus and Leo at these degrees, because a lot of other places in the chart will actually support a more negative nature or a more masculine nature to women sometimes. But I think that this is a woman here. So I was just going to say that this can actually help you to be very giving to people, but also too transparent where people can actually walk over you at times too. So
Okay. So, did that make sense, Donna Marie? Did that resonate with you at all? And does anyone else um, want to put their degrees in the comments? Yeah, this was pretty awesome. The goal, gratitude, gratitude. We appreciate you. Um, Another thing is Nagu will be coming on again. Any advice on what I should look for in a partner with a Venus in Cancer, 16 degrees in the fourth house? Oh, that's a great
yeah, your
question.
16 degrees, I need the minutes behind that because it's right on the end of a nakshatra or a constellation, which stops at 1640. So I don't know if it's before or after. But that's a lot of information I need to look at, honestly. If you're just looking for an understanding of Venus, that's one thing. But if you're asking about love, I need to be able to see the seventh house and the seventh lord and all of those things. What I will say, because Venus is the seventh lord here in this chart, though, is that I think that you could find love through your family here. A lot of times I've seen this with people. Mother can be a great influence on this, but I don't know what side of that nakshatra it's on, whether it's in Pusha or Ashleisha. That would change the event there. If it is below that 1640, that's a more benign, like advising type energy. And so that's going to tell me that the likelihood is that the people you'll meet will either be like an advisor, a teacher, or could be into things like real estate, things like that. If it's in, okay, push it, then those are the things that I was talking about. Yep. And Venus is over top of Saturn, which means that I don't know exactly how old you are, but things won't really work out here until after you're in your mid 30s. Um, and Venus would be in a Scorpio Pada. So that tells me that you will be somewhere around Jasha. So that means the spouse will likely be an elder sibling, or he would have an elder sister that would be in his life helping him out, something like that. But this is very crucial to Venus and Pusha. Trying to think. Um, can I ask you a question, sis? How old are you, Miss Cosme? You don't have to give me a full age. Just give me an approximate age. I just want to know if you're under like 35 or something like that.
She's under 35.
Okay. Mhm, 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 mhm. Yeah, because I can't see all of the chart, but I would presume that the person that you're looking for will be in those type of sectors. Maybe a teacher, um, could be in the real estate, could be an advisor of some type. But this is why the rest of the chart is needed, though, so that way I can get to the rest of the information. But I think your family will be most important of you meeting this person, and more than likely there will be a sister involved. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully, what I said makes sense.
Hmm. Okay, did anyone else have any questions for Nagu? We were about to sign off. This was pretty amazing. Um, you got through that pretty quick. I thought you was gonna be a while talking about this Venus
You know what's
and
crazy? I was gonna write this out, but my Gemini freestyled it, didn't I?
yeah, right.
But you know what's funny? And it still worked out. and it still worked out. But this is what I was gonna say, brothers and sisters. I will be back next. Is it next week?
Next week, next Tuesday. Yep.
Part two of the saga. This is what I was gonna say. Next week, let's get into more readings. And please, for everybody that came today, if you didn't get anything out of today, look at the app Cosmic Insights and try to figure out your chart. If you need some help, you can hit me up at Ngu the Astrologer on IG or theastrologer.ngu.com. And I actually have an email on that site you can hit me with as well. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And thank you so much. So, for everyone, just make sure you get that Cosmic Insights chart so that way you can have it. Or what we'll do when we start next week, we will go through everybody and make sure they get the point of how to do that chart. So, maybe what we should do is start maybe 10 to 15 minutes earlier so that way we can have that and we can just do readings.
I was about to. Great minds, great minds. I was just about to ask you, did you want to just do like some maybe some readings, next week? Because I think that'll be pretty cool. I want y'all to be able to see his thy works. Like he is great. The Gouda
And if
great.
you notice, most of the charts that I do, I never even see a chart. But I
Yeah.
have so many ways to look at things. It's just like it's too many ways to skin a cat. Like when people don't have their chart information and I don't know what time we're born. You know me. I use a whole different way of doing the chart. Then I'll go to Jupiter and make that my ascendant. Like we will cut the cheese and we will get to the information. Okay. So, peace and blessings, everybody. I like to always let people know that, I bring the energy of peace, love, and abundance wherever I go. I wake up with the love of Christ in my heart and I try to spread that light wherever I go. And all I see is light. And I try not to dim that light, but to give more light. And so, for everyone that got a chance to meet me, understand that you are divine as well. And we're just here as a cosmic divine community. And it's a blessing to meet everyone today. Peace and blessings.
Yes, yes. So we will be on next week. Gratitude of some gratitude, great gratitude for stopping in and showing some love. Yes, you missed it. So we do 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I know you're a couple of hours behind me, if I'm not mistaken. However, we will be on next week. We will be doing some readings next week. I don't know
We
how.
can go fairly longer next week, though, right?
Huh?
We can go a little bit longer next week.
Yeah, I'll have some food to eat next week, so I ain't got to brush off. Okay. Hey, look, me and my food, right? We live, baby girl. Me and my food. How I need my food. So this is a actually we have a guest. I don't know if she's still in here, but Amy, she'll be doing the third week. So yeah, everyone tune in for that. This is spiritual intentions on TikTok. She is a beautiful, amazing being, and I'm excited about that. So yes, we will be live next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard
You want to hear
Time.
something funny?
What's it?
This is the first time I've ever even read a chart on YouTube ever.
Really? This is my
First time
first
ever.
live on YouTube.
Everything you do becomes the thing I do. By the way, if y'all didn't know, if y'all can't see it, this is not only my cosmic sister, but my physical sister. So I love this lady to death. Y'all make sure y'all treat her with some respect. All right.
Gratitude, gratitude. Yes. So we will be on next week. Gratitude, everyone that stopped in. You can also go back and watch the live. I will put it on the platform for everyone to see. And everyone have an amazing rest of your night and safe travels. Peace. Now I gotta find out how to get off of here. Okay. All right, my baby girl is telling me. Okay, there it is. Peace, Nagoo. Peace, everyone. Oh, gratitude.